Washington Huskies quarterback Damon Williams Jr. will be the Big Ten Breakout Player of the Year. Because of that, the Huskies might be the surprise team of the conference. Get a good look. Their spring game is tonight. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hit that free subscribe button down below while you're watching. You won't miss a single episode. So get ready for the Damon Williams show at Washington. Plus, we have Big Ten news. The Huskers get a quarterback that Michigan thought they were getting later. Plus, Michigan State gets rid of their AD. And we'll have our picks at the end of the program. So tonight, it's a big night. It's a big night for Jedd Fisch and the Washington Huskies. It's the second annual Dogs After Dark spring game. It'll be Dogs After Twilight, really. I think it starts at 6:30 Pacific time tonight. You can watch it live on the Big Ten Network. But I think Washington fans are going to like what they're going to see here. And, in fact, I'll go so far as to say that Huskies quarterback Damon Williams Jr. will be the breakout star of the Big Ten this year, and that's with all due respect to Bryce Williams fans at Michigan. And the Huskies will improve upon their 7-win season from last year. So I think good things are in store. We saw glimpses of this, of what 2025 could be at the end of 2024, I thought. First of all, can we just take a moment and acknowledge what Jedd Fisch did in his first year at the helm of the Huskies program and their first year in the Big Ten, considering he had to replace 20 of 22 starters from a national championship runner-up team, and to have a winning record, I thought was remarkable, coming in there brand new and having to do all that. So I think they were kind of forgotten and overlooked a bit last year by a lot of people. And look, that may be a good thing, as it may sneak up on some people here early in 2025. But last year, they had a couple of quarterbacks. They had Will Rogers, and they platooned in Damon Williams at quarterback, kind of a little bit more as the season went on. And they relied on a good running game with Jonah Coleman, who was solid all season long, rushed for 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. The offense also had a couple of nice receivers in Giles Jackson and Denzel Boston. And the good news, Coleman and Boston are coming back this year. So let's talk about the quarterback. Again, the team relied pretty heavily on Will Rogers last year. He transferred in from Mississippi State. I initially wanted to come in and play for Kalen DeBoer, but he decided to stay with the Huskies program, even though DeBoer left for the Alabama job. He was fine. I think a little bit limited, and I think he was only going to go so far. So as the season went on, more and more, as we watched Huskies football, we saw more and more of Williams. Completed 78% of his passes. He was a lot more mobile than Rogers, a lot more. And I thought he was one of the best athletes on the field when he played. And I remember thinking, as the season went on and on, as he would come in, little flashes here and there, I thought, why isn't this guy the starter? And obviously, Jedd Fisch wanted to bring him along at a certain pace, but in my opinion, the only real criticism I have of Jedd Fisch from last year is I think he should have started Williams earlier in the season than he did. He did start the Sun Bowl, got a lot of people's attention there against Louisville, completed 26 of 32 passes for 374 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Washington fans know those are Michael Penix Jr. type numbers. Yeah, we remember Michael Penix Jr. Those are the kind of 374 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's what he would do on a regular. More of that, please, right? That's why I think the Husky fans should expect Williams to be a breakout player this year in the Big Ten. And they should improve on their 7-win season from last year. And I think if you get 8 or 9 wins, that puts you in sleeper team category. A lot of people go, oh, let me say Washington's my sleeper pick to do really well this year. This is the conversation I think we're going to have a lot this summer. And I'll only say sleeper if nobody's watching you closely. I think it's going to be a good football team. So the Huskies open up their 2025 season with Colorado State on August 30th. The Apple Cup, week 3. That's early. And, of course, good news is they open up Big Ten play at home September 27th. The bad news is it's against the defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. By the way, for the record, that's 2 years in a row that the defending national champion is coming into Husky Stadium. Michigan did it in 2024. Ohio State's coming this year. And Washington's at Michigan this year. So that's a tough part of the schedule. And, of course, they close out with Oregon at the end of the year. And the rest of the schedule, I think, is fairly manageable. Or at least they have a fighting chance to win all those other games. And they may even win some of these we just mentioned. But I definitely see at least 8 wins on this slate. What do you think, Huskies fan? Let me know. So the spring game tonight, Friday night, going to feature a mix of starters and reserves balanced on each team instead of like first team versus second team. Jedd Fisch says he wants to keep it fair and balanced, and he joked that he's the commissioner of this league. That's how he's going to run it. So you're going to have starters versus reserves starting side by side on each of the teams as they divide things up for this scrimmage spring game. When talking about players, Jedd Fisch talked about a couple. He singled out Armand Parker of having a great spring. He's now in his 4th season with the Huskies, and he's a carryover from the Kalen DeBoer era. And maybe you haven't heard of him because he's yet to play a game for the Huskies. Again, being there with 4 years, kids had horrible luck on the injury front. Missed 2 full seasons with knee injuries. Didn't play in 2023 because he was so far behind the other position players. Couldn't get on the field. You may be more familiar with his twin brother, Javon, who did play in 25 Husky games, but now he's recovering from an injured Achilles that he suffered in the Rutgers game. So flipping roles. Coach also pointed out some young receivers. There's Chris Lawson, somebody we might want to keep an eye on here tonight. Freshman Raiden Bynes Bright. It's also been very good. And they're all going to get plenty of opportunities in this spring game here tonight. As far as transfers are concerned, maybe some new names, some new faces that Jedd Fisch is excited about. You got the Washington State transfer linebacker Tariq Buddha Al-Aktua, who is coming in. Also, Oklahoma guard Garion Hatchett and Kansas State offensive tackle Carver Willis are some new people into the fold, plugging some holes, key positions that can help out. There's another player to watch. Redshirt freshman defensive back, Rashawn Clark. Yeah, he plays both corner and nickel. He's had 7 interceptions in spring drill so far. So everybody's like, oh, whoa, look at this. Got a nose for the football. So a lot of exciting things, a lot of things to be excited about if you're a Washington Huskies fan. Would love to hear from you guys. Hit us up on the comments. What do you think? Big expectations this year or not? Hit me up on it. And how you think you'll end up doing in the Big Ten. And what do you think about the quarterback position? I think I laid out how it's going to go, and I'd be pretty excited about it. So hit us up with the comments here on YouTube. Don't forget, hit that free subscribe button down below, and you'll never miss a single episode. And also check out our website, talkbig10.com. That's the number 10. All of our podcasts go there. We group them chronologically, but we also put them by school. This will go under Washington. Really easy to find. And we also offer Big Ten gear there. Links to where you can buy shirts, T-shirts, hats from your Washington Huskies. Show some school spirit. Get that purple going. I'll check it out at talkbig10.com. All right, still plenty to talk about here. First of all, Nebraska got a commit from a quarterback that everybody thought was going to Michigan. Yeah. Michigan State getting rid of their athletic director. What's going on there? So we'll talk about that, and we'll have our futures picks. I'm excited to talk about the Nebraska thing. They may have the heir apparent to Dylan Gabriel. We'll talk about all that. It's coming up in a minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. You know, you get the supplies that you need from the site made for skilled trades, and that's Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product information to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top name brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast and from coast to coast. You need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real human being. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. Join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Use the promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com, supplyhouse.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Epicor. Every team knows the value of hard work, of taking pride in what you build, in practicing every detail to get the best results. But no player, no matter how amazing, can do it all alone. Working together makes getting the win easier. And at Epicor, the all-stars are the hardworking manufacturers and distributors who create and deliver all the things that we need, from aerospace to electrical to medical devices. Epicor ERP solutions are created by industry experts to help make every day easier. Seeing your whole supply chain is easier. Managing logistics is easier. Responding to price changes is easier. From small businesses with big dreams to growing enterprises with global vision, we'll equip you with the right tools to move forward, think ahead, and lead the way. Because as the clock ticks down, you need to make the most of every hardworking minute. Easier doesn't cut corners. Easier takes the lead. Discover your success at www.easierwithepicor.com. That's www.easierwithepicor.com. Thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. Meanwhile, be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below. Share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And check out our website, talkbig10.com. Podcasts and merchandise right there at your fingertips. All right, so Michigan State, big announcement here this week. They are parting with athletic director Alan Haller. His final day will be May 11th. He'd been in charge of the athletic department since 2021. And many people say a lot of nice things about him. Nice guy, clearly loved the school, a lot of good stuff. But the area that he seemed to be lacking in was fundraising for name, image, and likeness. And I guess Michigan State feels a little behind in that department. So some will lead you to believe the tea leaves if you want to read them. Michigan State's next athletic director going to have to be an extrovert, salesman type personality to enter the new age of college athletics. Haller inherited the Mel Tucker situation, had to ultimately fire him and hire his replacement, Jonathan Smith. And for the time being, 70-year-old basketball coach Tom Izzo is going to be the interim athletic director. Tom Izzo will do anything for this program, anything for this school. He's going to step in and help out till they get themselves a permanent athletic director there. I was checking out an interview with Ohio State football coach Ryan Day. Of course, still basking in the glory of a national championship. They've concluded their spring football. Everybody stayed that was on scholarship from the spring portal or the transfer portal, so he's good. And, of course, the Buckeyes, we talk about Michigan State making a change because they're lacking in name, image, and likeness. Well, Ohio State, they're not lacking. They're one of the best in the country at it. And, of course, they famously spent over $20 million on their championship roster. And he was asked about, hey, man, best team money can buy. You paid for a pretty good roster. They pushed back on that a little bit on this whole notion that they bought the Natty. He reiterated that the majority of the roster was made of guys who were already there and that they recruited them and they developed them. And, of course, quarterback Will Howard came in on the transfer portal. That cost money. Half a dozen other players came in on the portal as well. But they also talked about a lot of guys that were on the fence from the year before about jumping into the NFL or staying in school And of course, with name, image, and likeness, you put a few dollars in their pocket, maybe make it easier to stay for another year. And those kids wanted to, play Michigan again or make a run at a national championship, all that. So he got a lot of guys to stay. That's where he used the bulk of the name, image, and likeness money. So, and in fairness, they were guys that were already there, but they did also fill some gaps with the transfer portal. There's no question about it. So from Ohio State to Michigan, how about Sherrone Moore? When's he going to name his starting quarterback for 2025? They got true freshman Bryce Underwood. Got most of the snaps this spring because veteran transfer Mikey Keane had been dealing with an injury. He's just now starting to throw the football. Still, as good as Underwood seems to be, he's only 17 years old and has a pretty big learning curve ahead of him. So what are the Wolverines going to do, especially early in the season? They got a new offensive coordinator, Chip Lindsey. He's going to be instrumental in developing these quarterbacks, but also Lindsey, remember, has a relationship with Mikey Keane. Because before Keane came over from Fresno, he was at Central Florida, and that's where Chip Lindsey was. So they know each other. They have a working relationship. They're very comfortable with each other. That's how Keane, that's why he's there. So, but I don't know how far behind schedule he is with the injury and whatnot. Davis Warren is coming back from an ACL injury from last year. Jane Davis did get some snaps this spring. So when will a decision be made for the Wolverines QB1? Sherrone Moore seems to be in no hurry, and he says things usually carry into fall camp. He's good with it. These are the same things he said last year, by the way. And he says he'll probably make an announcement the week of the first game. And that's exactly what he did last year. So that's his style. That's his mindset going into all this. So other news regarding quarterbacks in Michigan. So they get the number one recruit in the country, the best quarterback in the country, and Bryce Underwood. He comes. We reported last week that they got another good quarterback coming in, class of 2026, Brady Smigel. Brady is 6'5", good size, comes from California. And they were in the running for another one of the better quarterbacks of the country, Trae Taylor, class of 2027, top 35 prospect overall. He visited Ann Arbor 14 times. I've never heard of that. That's a lot. 14 visits. So a lot of people thought he was going to Michigan. No, he's not. He was talking to Michigan. He was talking to Illinois. He was talking to Texas A&M, LSU. But he announced yesterday that he is going to Nebraska. The 6'3" quarterback looks like he's going to be the heir apparent to Dylan Raiola, who should be on his way or could be pretty close to being on his way to the NFL by 2027, right? But it's early. We'll see if these commits stick. It's way early, as a matter of fact. I mean, even Raiola wasn't going to Nebraska at first, and then he finally did. Also, UCLA got a defensive lineman from the transfer portal, got him from Michigan. Keyshawn Bennett. He'd been in Ann Arbor for 4 seasons, including the national championship season. He's a former 4-star recruit. Really didn't play that much. So he's looking for a new start. He's going out to Westwood, and he's going to play at UCLA. A little transfer portal news there. All right. If you are new to our podcast, in our final segment, we always like to do a bunch of different things, depending on what day it is. On Mondays, we always like to do our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. Usually there's a lot of sports and stuff going on. Probably have a lot of baseball stuff from this weekend. Tuesday, we like to do Tuesday tweets. Follow us on Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten. I like to pull stuff from there. If you're out there with something witty or humorous or looks good, I'll put it on. That's Tuesdays. Wednesdays, we like to power rank stuff. And in fact, we power ranked baseball teams for the first time, Big Ten, on Wednesday's podcast. Thursdays, we like to look at the Big Ten Network and highlight some things you might be interested in, Big Ten Classics or Big Ten Live Action. Fridays, we make picks. During the fall, pigskin picks. During the winter, basketball picks. We're going to look at the futures odds of teams making the College World Series and where are any Big Ten teams on that list. We don't have we don't rank baseball teams, so it's not the Big Ten's strong suit. So we'll take a look at that. That's all coming up in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. All right, let's take a look at our picks. Since we really don't have a lot of games going on, although there is the Michigan-Ohio State baseball series this weekend. Let's take a look at baseball, and this is all the teams in the country. I want to put up the odds, the Vegas odds of winning the College World Series, and you'll notice we get pretty far down the list before we see any Big Ten teams. So we're going to add that here on full screen. If you're one of our audio-only people, no problem. We'll describe what it is. We got a grid of the top 10 college baseball teams as far as their odds to win the College World Series, and then we've slipped in we jumped out of the top 10, had to go further down the list just to grab the first two Big Ten teams on the list. Vegas does not think a Big Ten team is winning the College World Series. All right, we'll start off. The Tennessee Vols got the best odds out there at plus 450. You know, the Vols so far have had their pitchers throw 2 combo no-hitters so far this year. Great pitching staff for the Vols. And, of course, this is some good news for the Vols because they've had all this news with Nico Iamaleava and transferring out and spring football and all that. It'll be nice to watch some spring baseball out there for Tennessee. They got the best odds at plus 450. Arkansas coming in. By the way, have you noticed something here at the beginning of this list? Top 5. A lot of SEC. SEC baseball is pretty good. Always is. Arkansas plus 500. And this team can hit the cover off the baseball. They lead the SEC in batting average, followed by LSU at plus 800. Remember, they won the national championship just a couple of years ago in 2023. They would like to get back. The Georgia Bulldogs coming in at plus 1,000. They can hit. They hit for power. They were the first team in college baseball this year to hit 100 home runs, and they just keep on rolling. Texas Longhorns at plus 1,600. They do it. They do it all. They can pitch. They can hit. They got one of the best ERAs in the SEC, if not the best. Second in runs scored in the country. They do it all. Longhorns. All right, North Carolina. We finally get out of the SEC. Once we get out of the top 5 at number 6, they got the 6th best odds. North Carolina at plus 1,600. Again, talk about a school that would like to take attention off of football for a little while with all that Bill Belichick stuff going on. By the way, we talked about Bill Belichick and North Carolina and future team of the Big Ten and his girlfriend situation. We did all that yesterday's podcast. Feel free to check it out on Lockdown Big Ten for a second listen as soon as you're done with this one. So the Tar Heels baseball at plus 1,600. By the way, they're kind of a scrappy, old-fashioned bunch. They don't score a lot of runs. They rely on great pitching and some defense, and they're going to have to beat you with a little bit of small ball. Got Clemson at plus 1,800. So Clemson and North Carolina, they're at the top of the ACC. Then we got Oregon State, who is plus 2,000. That'd be a great story. Oregon, they're independent right now. Going to join in on the revamped Pac-12 next year. They finally got themselves a little TV deal. They're looking, by the way, Pac-12 looking for one more team that plays football so they can be like a legitimate football conference. Vanderbilt at plus 2,200. Vanderbilt's always good at baseball. And Georgia Tech at plus 2,200. So those are your top 10 teams in the country as far as the best baseball odds to win the College World Series. And then I had to go down the list. It's not like Oregon and UCLA are 11 and 12. No, this is further down. So the Oregon Ducks are the best odds for any Big Ten team at plus 4,500 odds to win the College World Series. And then UCLA at plus 5,000. That's it. Not very good. Not too good at all. So you got to get better at baseball here in the Big Ten. Spend a little money on it at least. All right, there you have it. Those are the odds. Just thought I'd share that with you because we always like to do picks or odds of some sort on a Friday, getting you ready for the weekend. Hope you appreciate that. There are many ways for you to interact with me throughout the weekend. Hit me up on Twitter or X at TalkBig10. Don't forget our website, talkbig10.com, where we have all of our podcasts. They go chronologically, and we group them by school as well for your convenience, and links to your favorite teams. If you want to buy some merchandise and get ready for the 2025 season with a little school spirit, hit the link there. You'll be good to go. And comments on YouTube are always welcome. You guys go back and forth, all that. I'm entertained by you guys. I don't know about that. If you're as entertained by reading or writing those as well. Whatever you do, hit that subscribe button down below so you never miss a single episode. We are making a push to 20,000 subscribers. Less than 2 years ago, we took over this channel. We had 1,000. We're going to hit 18,000 here pretty soon. And we're trying to get to 20,000 before the start of football season. Hit that subscribe button. And thank you if you already have subscribed as well. You subscribe, that way you'll never miss an episode. That we're out here every single day. That's another thing about this podcast. We're very unique in that we're the only podcast, audio and video, covers the entire Big Ten, all 18 teams, with news, analysis of that news, and opinion of that news. Some people are afraid to give their opinions, not us. I know you guys give your opinion in the comment section too. So all that's under one umbrella here on Locked On Big Ten. So tell your friends about us. If you have Big Ten friends or alum friends that don't even know we're out here every single day, growing by leaps and bounds. Always appreciate that. Also invite you to check out a second listen, our friend Brian Smith on the Portal show, Locked On Portal, everything with the Portal. And be the most informed fans of all these changes going on, up to the date, college football landscape. Find the Portal. That's what it's called, the Portal, on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Have yourself a great weekend. Can't wait to talk to you again on Monday. And we'll be right at it, right back into the football and any other news that's going on. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time.